Hey everyone, Salena Kulkarni here, and in today's little video I want to share with you some insights into how you could go about creating a surplus 10% of cash in your own bank account so that you can use that towards your investing efforts. Now, I work with a lot of investors who tell me one of their greatest sources of frustration is the fact that no matter what happens to their business income, to their income, they're just not able to ratchet up their wealth creation in direct correlation to that. In other words, as their income goes up, the actual demands and pressure to spend actually increase too. Especially if you're part of a family, there can be great perception and strain around the idea that if your income's gone up, well then surely that means that we can have a better life, better holidays, better cars, better houses. So I want to give you 3 tips on how you can very simply go about creating that surplus that you need if you want to start increasing your efforts around investing. Now, the starting point for all of this has to be, you need to know what 10% actually means. Now, I highly encourage you, regardless of how often you get paid or how often you pay yourself, work out roughly on a weekly basis how much money is available after tax, meaning what is your personal access to funds after tax on a weekly basis. Now, obviously, if it goes up and down, see if you can get a bit of an average, but we want to smooth it out. Now, that is the number that we take 10% of, and that is what we're going to reverse engineer towards in terms of coming up with how to find that extra 10%. So the number one thing that I would encourage you to do is go and get yourself a tool or an app of some variety that will allocate your personal expenses to different categories and give you some transparency around where money's going right now. Now, even if you're not a fan of micro budgeting, as I am not, what that tool will immediately do is bring some clarity to where you might be having blowouts in spending. I've often worked with many investors who've said, look, I think I spend this amount on X and this amount on Y. And in actual fact, when we look at the numbers, they're actually 3 or 4 times more than they think they're spending. So if nothing else, what that will do is it'll give you a mini electric shock, and it'll give you instant feedback that maybe there's some work that can be done there. The second thing that I would love to draw your attention to is this idea of lazy expenses. So many of us actually don't spend all of our money mindfully, meaning, because especially we're all living on plastic, whether it's a debit card or a credit card, it can be very easy to just tap that coffee, tap that lunch, tap that purchase, go online, use PayPal, which is even more indirectly eroding our money. And so what I would encourage you to do is just for a period of a few weeks, stop using plastic to pay for those mindless expenses. Work out realistically what cash amount you can allocate to yourself to spend each week and carry cash. Because again, what that does is it gives you immediate feedback on where you might be having blowouts of expenses. Because I can tell you now, it's pretty easy to drop 20, 30 bucks on a lunch, or to spend 20, 30 bucks a week on coffees unwittingly. The third and final tip that I have for you is get the whole house on board. What I mean when I say this is talk to the family about this aspiration of reducing your expenses by 10% so that you can develop more wealth, create more wealth over the long term. You would be incredibly surprised at how innovative kids, spouses, people can be in general when there's an incentive. You need to help people understand the connection between reducing expenses and the rewards that come later, and set out a reward for the family, like make it a game. If you do that, then that just takes the sting out of it and you're not coming down with a stick saying we need to reduce our expenses. So anyway, look, if you get this piece right, if you get to the point where you can actually develop surplus in your budget, more money to go towards either emergency savings or investing in some form, then you're going to start to put yourself in a position where over time the cumulative effect of that just blows everything else out of the water. So anyway, I hope you found that useful. Please share and comment below, and look forward to next time. Bye.